Welcome to the AI for Career Success video overview by Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Our overview today is based on the article Debunking 6 AI Myths by Curt Robbins, published on LinkedIn. You know, it's really easy to get lost in the current discourse surrounding AI. It seems to be a constant mix of hype about solving all the world's problems, and on the other hand, fear that it's going to make our jobs obsolete. Our goal here is to cut through that noise and get to a more practical understanding of what AI can and cannot do for us as professionals. So here's our addenda. We're going to systematically examine 6 of the most common myths about artificial intelligence. By dismantling these misconceptions, we can begin to build a clearer picture of how to strategically leverage these tools to our advantage in a professional context. Let's start with the big one, the myth that's really captured the public imagination, often fueled by decades of science fiction. The idea that AI is on the verge of becoming sentient. This notion is quite pervasive, and as the source material highlights, it's often rooted in a fundamental misunderstanding of the technology, which can lead to fear. It causes us to anthropomorphize these systems, assigning them human-like qualities that they simply do not possess. And here is the core distinction that every professional needs to grasp. Today's AI, particularly large language models, are not thinking machines. They are incredibly sophisticated probabilistic engines. They predict the next word or token in a sequence based on statistical patterns from vast amounts of training data. They don't understand context in the human sense. This is why, for any serious professional work, you cannot take their output at face value. Rigorous fact-checking and validation are absolutely non-negotiable. All right, let's move to our second myth, which is perhaps more subtle but also more dangerous in a professional setting. The belief that because AI operates on mathematics and code, its output must be inherently neutral and objective. The reality, of course, is that machine learning models are a direct reflection of the data we train them on. And since that data is generated by humans and scraped from the internet, it contains all of our existing societal biases, prejudices, and stereotypes. The models learn these patterns just as they learn any other, and in some cases, they can even amplify them. This brings us to a foundational principle in machine learning: bias in, bias out. So what does this mean for you? It means you must be critically aware of the provenance of your data and the outputs of any AI tool you use. You cannot assume neutrality. You have a professional responsibility to audit for bias to ensure that your work remains accurate, fair, and equitable. Now, let's address the anxiety that's likely on many of our minds. The fear that generative AI is poised to automate knowledge work, making roles like writers, editors, and strategists obsolete. The reality is far more nuanced and, frankly, more interesting than that. It's best to think of AI as a tool for augmentation, not a direct replacement. It is brilliant at handling lower-level, repetitive, and time-consuming tasks. Think about it: generating a first draft, summarizing a lengthy report, or translating text. But it consistently falls short on the high-level cognitive work that requires genuine intelligence and expertise, things like user empathy, deep domain-specific validation, and overarching creative strategy. That is where human oversight remains absolutely indispensable. This quote from the source material really reframes the entire discussion. The primary threat isn't the technology itself, it's the failure to adapt to it. Your role isn't disappearing, it is evolving. The challenge and the opportunity is to master this new class of tools and shift your focus to the higher value strategic work that only a human can perform. Okay, having addressed the more philosophical myths, let's now turn to a cluster of technical misconceptions about how these systems actually function. A clear understanding here is critical to avoid common pitfalls when trying to implement AI tools effectively. Let's quickly unpack these. First, the idea that AI is an unknowable black box is becoming less true. A whole field called explainable AI is dedicated to making model behavior more transparent. Second, there is no single monolithic AI. What we actually have is a fragmented landscape of highly specialized tools designed for very narrow tasks. And third, the myth of the magic data dump. The idea you can just feed any data into a model and get great results is completely false. The old adage, garbage in, garbage out, is more relevant than ever. And that first point about explainable AI or XAI is worth emphasizing. These methods are what allow us to look inside the model, to some extent, and understand why it reached a particular conclusion. For any professional application, this is absolutely crucial for accountability, for ensuring fairness, and for the practical need to debug and refine the system when it makes mistakes. So, now that we've debunked some of these common myths, the logical next question is, what is the path forward? How do we translate this clearer understanding of AI into a tangible, strategic advantage in our careers? This is really about the evolution of your professional role. Your value shifts from being a creator of content from scratch to being the strategic architect who guides and refines the output of the machine. This means developing deep skills in prompt engineering, focusing your energy on high-level content strategy, and most importantly, applying your human expertise to rigorously validate, fact-check, and edit everything the AI produces. This quote perfectly summarizes the necessary shift in mindset. The professionals who thrive will be those who understand AI's true capabilities, both its profound strengths and its critical weaknesses. They will be the ones who can harness it effectively, transforming their work into a sophisticated collaboration between human intellect and machine efficiency. And this brings us to the final, critical question for you to consider. As you navigate your career in this rapidly changing landscape, where will you choose to position yourself? Will you be the one replaced by the tool, or the one expertly wielding it? Thank you for watching. Remember, this is where we teach you AI and help you get smarter than your competition. To continue learning with us, please subscribe to the AI for Career Success YouTube channel. And if you found this overview valuable, please like, comment, and share it to help us reach a wider audience.